show the gut to the side. Look at that thing, man. Like, that, to me, looks like a PB. What do you think? That's going over 5. No, it's not 5, but holy crap. Dude. Damn right. That's a 4. Dude. 4 pounder right off the bat. Here we go. Oh my god. Dude. Good job, look at that. I have big hands. That thing's huge. Girthy. That's triple C thick. We're calling them today, boys.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another night of Real Northern Bass Talk. How's everybody doing? I don't even have the stream up here. Hang on, I got it's 1,000 things I'm trying to do all at once. So we got David. How's it going, buddy? Ben, what's up? Hey, we got to keep an eye out for Grat84. He's the only guy that won a hat last week that I didn't get his shipping information from. Don't let me forget. What's going on, Brian? Different baits? Panda? We have a lot to discuss tonight, fellas.
Lots. And if you can see, there's somebody in the middle between us.
Mr. Daniel Kenny, owner of all the expos up here, the New England Fishing Expo, the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, and the new Northeast Swimbait Expo. So, primarily talking about the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, but I'm sure we can talk a little bit about the Northeast Expo too as well, right, Dan?
No, whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. All right, who else? Dave, what's going on, buddy? Chris? Did the hats go out? No. So, I'll spare the personal details of what's going on in my life, other than the fact it has been extremely difficult. Work-related crap. It is what it is. And then we had a busy weekend because my son's final basketball games, practices and games of the year were all weekend. And then we went fishing Sunday. And I realized this whole time I didn't even have any packaging tape. And I'm waiting to hear from Grat. He's the only one that I don't have it. So, we have the boxes built over here. I've got everybody's, except for Grat's stuff, printed out. I did drop off a hat to a local guy on my way home from work the other day. So I got one hat out. So I'm hoping that Grat is on tonight, that we can go ahead, get everybody's out. We'll box everything up tonight. My wife's going to drop them off the mailbox tomorrow. You guys should have your hats either, maybe even Friday. But if not, then probably Saturday, because everybody's relatively local to where we live. What's going on, John? Aaron? Who else we got? Steve? Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy, Steve Sargent.
Mr. Sargent. We're here to talk a lot about stuff. It is 8:04. All right, close enough. We usually wait a couple minutes for everybody else to get in here, but we will jump into it. Couple of things. First and foremost, for everybody that has done all the sharing on the streams and the donations, the whole 9 yards, we cannot thank you enough for the support you've been doing. Where we are right now for average number of views and engagement, the whole 9 yards, is higher than our previous averages when I was sharing the crap out of all this myself too. Literally posting it to 20 different Facebook groups and all over Twitter and Reddit and the whole 9 yards. I've stopped because what you guys have been doing has been more impactful for our growth than everything I was doing on my own. I've said it before and I'm going to keep saying it every single week. Community engagement, help from the community with growing, is just paramount for us to grow. And we cannot thank you guys enough for doing that. We keep asking, you guys keep delivering, and it's been working out phenomenal. On the topic of donations, if you can see down there underneath Andrew, we're back at $0 with a new goal. Last week, you guys killed it. We hit that $1,200 goal.
Blew it out of the freaking water.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then with the raffle tickets from the hats too, that worked out. I did the math. I was okay, if we do this number of raffle tickets, it's the same as if I sold the hat. Anyway, so with everything, we have enough. We got that goal covered. So thank you all very much. Greatly appreciate it. For those that do want to donate towards the new goal, one of 3 ways you can do it. If you have it set up, you can donate here directly through the chat or down in the video description below. There's a link to both our PayPal and our Venmo. Any way you guys want to do it is easiest. Doesn't matter to us. It all works the same in the end. Any value helps. As far as what that donation goal is, it's set for $500. I have an offer from a friend. He has a really nice drone that he's not using. He's like, hey man, if you want to buy this, I will hold on to it for you. I'm like, okay, I want it now, but all of my money is tied up into apparel for the upcoming New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. More on that shortly. It's a lot of money. I mean, it is an obscene amount of money. So everybody that responded to all the social media posts about the new logos and everything for buying hoodies, and I'm going to have hats and stuff, I really hope you guys weren't lying when you said you're going to buy these or my wife is going to kill me. So, right now I'm just waiting on the final quote so I know what I need to order. Like right now, I think I'm going to order 70 hoodies that I'm hoping to, yeah, dude, we had a ton of interest. It was amazing. And they're all like amazing AFTCO hoodies. Like I would love to do one of these from FXR, but I can't get it without the primary logo, so I can't fit my logo on there. So we opted for the AFTCO Reaper hoodies. Right now, with the way this is going to work out, Berkshire Bass, another local guys down there in Massachusetts, they're helping us out with getting this AFTCO gear. The price on these should be about the same, if not just a smidge more, than what those hoodies go for retail. I'm still waiting on the quote for the actual screen printing process. I was supposed to have that today. Haven't got it yet. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, that money for the donation there, that's for a new drone. And then that, like, now we're good. We've got all the GoPros. I've got all the batteries. I've got one of the new mounts made up so we can bolt all this stuff up to the boat and it's not going to go anywhere.
We're going to be able to run with GoPros running.
Which is
like
phenomenal. That changes everything.
We don't have to take like even just 30 seconds out of our time to take GoPros down and secure them, make sure they're not going to fly out of a boat when we're hitting 3-4 foot waves. Exactly.
And then the biggest plus side too is sometimes because these like not really flimsy but kind of flimsy gooseneck GoPro mounts that we currently use now, if you nudge one, it'll tip over. Instead of having a nice even level camera angle, sometimes I won't even realize we'll nudge it and it's like and the whole world's sideways like 30 degrees. Or you hit it with a jig.
It wasn't your motor that time.
That's true. Or the Talon.
Talon.
So, and now with these new GoPros we have in these crazy nice aluminum cases, they're even heavier. So those, like, we went fishing Sunday. And I threw them up on the GoPro, the gooseneck mounts, and they're just like
yeah, they're heavy.
They're too heavy. So this whole new setup, it's all happening. And we're going to have this whole thing flushed out in the next week or two. I just ordered all new battery packs because these new GoPros are power hungry, dude. It is insane.
Yeah, well, they got 2 screens too.
Right.
And they're both running. Are they always running?
Always running.
Yeah.
No,
I think the front one shuts off.
The front one shuts off. The back one does shut off after a period of time. But if you just want a little tap and they all turn back on. There's one GoPro for some reason it's in like cold weather mode and it won't turn on the preview screens no matter what you do. It's fine. So we have a lot going on. It's all going to work. That's what all the donations go towards. So if you guys want to help us get that drone, donations are very, very welcome. Other than that, real quick, 5 minutes. Weekend fishing report. Let's start with how we did Sunday. We went out fishing on Sunday, open water, down to Cape Cod.
So we got there and I chased turkeys, literally.
Yeah, if you didn't see that on Facebook, you missed out.
But we got there and the launch was frozen still. Like there was just it was the only spot on the lake that had ice on it was the launch.
And it was like a 20-foot, like deep by 4-inch thick sheet of ice.
Yeah, it was pretty sturdy. But we ended to figure it out and we like kind of backed the trailer down and as he's backing it down, I'm on the boat with this big ass log just smashing the shit out of it. And we ended up getting out. We were with John Mango. He ended up meeting us there. We were hanging out, and that's pretty much all we did all day was hang out. He caught the only fish, which is a big slime dart, pickerel. But at least he got something. I didn't really give a shit if I caught something or not. I mean, I would like to, but it was our first time out. We got the boat out, tested all the drones. The
GoPros.
It's on my mind. GoPros. They all work great. But yeah, that was pretty much what happened. It was cold and windy, and They just weren't biting.
No, we had the really unfortunate luck, which always seems to happen. All right, we got 2 donations I got to cover. We always have this crazy bad luck where, like, honest to God, 8 out of 10 trips we get to go, and I can only fish on Sundays. My wife works evenings. We've got 2 kids. She works most of Saturday. Still got the 2 kids. So I get Sunday. That's it. And it just always seems to be, especially in the spring, that the worst days to fish are on Sunday.
Always.
So,
Our days off.
Yeah.
Sundays and Mondays are like my 2 days off.
Yeah.
And those are the days that we get screwed.
Yeah. And this early in the year it doesn't make any sense to go out super early. And Sunday morning was brutal. With wind chill factors, it was like -10 down there, I think is what I had saw, maybe -5. So I'm like, there's no point in going early. And then he had to be back kind of early for a dinner date with his girlfriend. So we had a very narrow window. We're like, okay, well, we can't go to the deeper ponds where we might have a better chance. So let's go to the pond that we know best, which is pretty shallow, and just hope for the best. Mm-hmm. The place only iced out 2 days prior to us getting there. And water temp was 35 to 36 degrees. We marked plenty of fish. It just wasn't happening. That's how it goes sometimes. That is by far the toughest time of the year to fish. And we can attest to that because we've done it too many times now. So that said, our buddy Dennis went out today. He went back down to the same area, down near Cape Cod. Killed it. And actually, come to find out from Dan, another guy we know, Aaron, was on the same pond. They both did great. Water temp was about 43 degrees, another smaller pond.
What?
Yeah. But we got a ton of warm rain yesterday.
Yeah,
Don't forget.
true.
It's a really shallow pond, so that's going to impact it even that much more.
Yeah, true.
I forget Dan, what was Aaron catching them on? Jerkbaits?
Aaron, I did not see what he was catching them on, but even if he did catch them on something, he would tell you it was something else.
Okay.
So that's a moot point, because if he did catch them on jerkbaits, then he would tell you that it was a Carolina rig.
Gotcha. Okay. So Dennis told us exactly what he did. He's very happy to share that information. Real simple. Mega Bass Vision 110 jerkbait. He actually caught most of his fish in like 4 to 5 feet of water. I think he said he caught 8 bass. Maybe it was 6. I forget. And he ended up catching a couple on the jackhammer with the new Beast Coast Chatter Shad trailer. All fire craw color. His biggest went 4.01 pounds on the jackhammer. Caught another one, a little over 3 pounds on the jerkbait, a couple of 2s and a 1, and a couple of really fat, healthy perch. And again, they were surprisingly shallow. Vegetation was key for his chatterbait bite. Despite those cold water temps, we've seen that plenty of times ourselves. If you can get around that vegetation, you can get that chatterbait, just kind of tick it, hang up a little bit, pop free. Works killer even in really, really cold water. Mm-hmm. So, if you're willing to travel, literally, like, everything south of Boston is open now. That's all open water. Maybe a little bit further. Maybe like Plymouth and south. The further west you go from Plymouth area, like when you get towards like Worcester area, that mostly is still iced in. So I want to say that line is like halfway between Boston and Worcester and then from that point south is where there's tons of open water options. So for those that are willing to brave the drive, make the long drive, because it is a long drive, you have options if you're itching to get out there, and they're biting. And then our other buddy, John Mango, that we fished with on Sunday.
Yeah, he went out and killed it too.
Yep, 10 today on the jackhammer, less than 8 feet. It's happening, fellas. If you're looking to get out there, let's go for it. One last thing before we get into it with Dan. We got 2 donations. Ben, $10. Thank you very much. And Chad, $25. Thank you both very, very much. Look at that. Already well on our way towards that drone. That's going to be so
hit the
sick.
Thank you thing. Did it work?
It did. I thought it did. Hit it again.
It's still going.
It is?
I don't know.
Man, I didn't see it pop up on the thing. It's all good.
Anyway.
Who else jumped in here real quick? We saw Ben, John, Jason. Hey, buddy. Kyle. Just doing the stream. What about that hoodie? They're coming. I'm waiting on the quote. I'm hoping that I can still get these in time for the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. I'm running out of time. I really needed to order these a week ago to absolutely guarantee this will happen. Fingers crossed. I'll have a ton of hats. I'll have a ton of decals. I'm just, and I could probably get t-shirts. I just don't know if the AFCO hoodies are going to make it in time.
Oh, they will.
Enough about that.
They will.
Man, I hope so. I really, really hope so. The company that I use, Mint Printworks, is really good. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to do me a solid and maybe expedite these a little bit to get them in. That would make me very happy.
They seriously do such a good job.
They do a fantastic job because even Southern Valley
Like-
Motorsports uses them.
This hat, this sweatshirt,
That hoodie, yep.
is all.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
Hey, Sean,
What?
just to tell you quickly about the ice report, 'cause I know you're talking open water, but you are spot on. Worcester, like right around us, Ben's, we do have a lot of ponds, but yeah, they're going real quick. They're 6, 7, 8 inches right next to us, and then as you go 10, 15, 20 minutes west, you're starting to get back into the 11, 12 inches, and then out by Spencer, Berkshire, Bass, that type of an area, they still have like 15. So.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Worcester towards Boston and Cape, anywhere in that area is pretty much going to be open. And if it's not, it will be in 24 hours.
Nice.
Sweet.
So on that, one last thing. For those that are still ice fishing, especially for those that are new, now is about the most dangerous time of the year to go out on the ice. Please be careful. Just because there's 6 inches of ice doesn't mean it's good, safe ice.
Right.
If there's any amount of open water anywhere, it's highly likely the rest of that ice is either compromised or knocking on the door of being compromised. It will. A lot of these places, like smaller places, going to just melt out real fast, right? But some of these places will blow apart, create candlesticks. It happens a lot more often on the bigger lakes, but it can still happen on smaller bodies of water. So everybody, please, please, please be careful as we go into the tail end of the ice fishing season here. Be safe, have fun. On that, let's get into it. So Dan, let's talk about the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, buddy. Let's hear it. It's next month.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll get into that, but I did want to also tell Andrew, the right-hand man, the wingman, if you will. So I got my phone and you set me up, but I don't have my laptop, so I can't see any comments. So if somebody has a specific question, you're going to have to kind of regurgitate it so I can answer it if you don't know the answer. But that being
got
said,
you.
New Hampshire Outdoor Expo is coming up March 11th through the 13th in the Hampshire Dome. It's in a beautiful little town where a killer angler is from, Milford, New Hampshire.
Two of them.
Home of 603 Bass, Sean, aka the Hammer, Bass Angler, Angler of the Year, New Hampshire State Champion. All those other titles really haven't happened yet, but they will. I have faith in them. Anyways, he's from Milford, New Hampshire, and that's where the Dome is. And the show is it's a true outdoor show. So like a lot of shows around the country, I mean, obviously we had COVID for a couple of years, and that has really, ravaged the show industry and even people who participate in the shows. So we were fortunate enough to pull off the Boxborough one at the last weekend of January, and we had a blizzard on Saturday. But other than that, we had really good numbers on Friday and Sunday. The one in New Hampshire, I'm pretty sure that it won't snow, but I will still pray that it doesn't. And we will have a great outdoor show. Vendor wise, it's as I was mentioning, we do have a lot of fantastic vendors, but you still have some vendors where it's a sobering reality that a lot of them may own lodges or camps or businesses that they could be 50, 60, 70 years old, etc. And they're just not going to set up this year, unfortunately, because they're still a little bit afraid of getting sick. So
Right.
so that's had a negative impact and still is. That being said, most everyone is going to be past the COVID or has had all the shots or has already had the COVID or the new variant or whatever. So attendance wise, we should be very good. And vendor wise, we are solid. And as the promoter, we can always do better. But we have a really good team. So I've got Steve Sargent that you had mentioned, and he's on the team, and Kristen Sunholm, she's on the team doing like finance stuff and calling people. We have Josh Segal, who is also calling on people for the New Hampshire show. We got Kristen Sela, also, and Mark Burgess is also a right hand man on our team, but he's um, not able to help us this year for the shows because he has a home life with a couple of children actually that are really compromised. So unfortunately, we really do miss Mark Burgess a great deal, and he's a big help. But we're plugging along, and all the team members I mentioned are working extra hard and getting things done.
Good. Nice. So you say, excuse me, sorry, I'm having a hard time with this lately. You say it's a true outdoor expo. Elaborate on the typical vendors that you guys do have there. Obviously, there's tons of bass fishing stuff, but what are some of the other things there for the average outdoorsman that's into everything, not just bass fishing, like hunting and just the whole 9 yards?
Right. So we do have that aspect of it with the hunting, um, registered guides, turkey hunting, the Turkey Federation, deer hunting, black bear hunting. Those type of people will be there set up. Lodges and camps and cabins that have to do with fishing and or hunting or both, even snowmobiling. Those type of places will be there set up. When I say true outdoors, meaning and I always have to define it because, as we know, Boxborough is a fishing show. It's just 100% fishing. It's primarily bass fishing, and with a little bit of salt and some swim bait dudes. And but it is all fishing nonetheless. And then New Hampshire is camp, kayak, hunt, guns, archery, fishing, and snowmobiling, ATV, four wheeling, whatever. So anything that you really can enjoy in the outdoors um, that us here in New England would consider an outdoor activity is all welcome at the New Hampshire show. And that's what I mean by a true outdoor show because it's literally if you're into trail riding, well, we're gonna have some stuff there. If you're into boats, we're gonna have some stuff there. If you're into archery only, you can still come and there's plenty to choose from with Export Archery as far as um, all the brands he brings, and we even got the shooting range set up. And then the trout pond for kids, which is kind of fun. That's always good for the kids to come there and for families to come and they can catch trout all day long without costing anything other than getting in. And the kids themselves, 12 and under are free.
Yep. So that was actually, I'm glad you touched upon that. When the last time we did this, before the pandemic started, the last show you guys had, my kids had a blast. At the time, they would have been 7 and 3, and even my 3-year-old had a blast. There was like a kids' archery range and the whole 9 yards. So, what other stuff is there for like family, right? For people that are bringing kids, so it's not just okay, wife dragging the kids behind dad so dad can go spend all the money for the week. What else is going to be there planned for this year? So, for people that are bringing their kids along, so they have other stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, so basically it's the same as it was pre-COVID with I mean, we don't really have a whole lot going on other than the trout pond, the archery, and the BB gun range. Those are all things that kids really like, and the laser shot um, game may be there. I spoke to the guy that runs it, and right now he's waiting again back to COVID, but he's waiting for a part to for the little laser shot machine to work properly. So
What is that?
he
What's the laser shot?
it's just a laser, like the little like duck hunter. The duck goes across the screen and you
Oh
blind
yeah, 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 yeah.
laser.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
hmm
you're in like a canopy tent style setup.
Oh, that's cool. That'll be fun. I'll do that. I'll try it. It's fun. I'm gonna go around and do everything.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, it'll be. I mean, ultimately, it's just a really good vibe. It's a good time for the family. It's a good time for outdoorsmen to get out and just hang out, talk, have a good time. Of course, the big thing that a lot of people come for is to buy things at the show, whether it's the apparel for the brands that you want to support, but it's also great deals on rods, reels. Like we got the retailers there selling rods, reels, tackle. Then you have the standalone brands like like Douglas rods, FX rods. There'll be some ducket rods there. I'm trying to think of a few, and then brands like Exxon lures. There'll be people selling the Nico baits, all that type of stuff. So at the shows, we really try to tell these vendors, or all the vendors. Um, Ben's Tackle Shack will be there. My son with all the retail stuff, and then MGC will be there. But the goal is to come to a show and try to put a discount on some of your items, so that people that do come to the show feel like when they go home that they saved 10, 15, $20 on purchasing whatever they purchased, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. I'm excited to go see the camping stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All the camping stuff they got there is pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, they had a crazy nice trailer there the last time that I was looking at that. I'm like, I kind of want that.
My mom was like, I kind of want this. You can get it so I can use it.
Actually, so I'm curious if that vendor will be there too. There was a vendor there that did like very country kind of home living furniture and stuff. And they had this like kitty corner cabinet they built that was like at a barn board and was painted to look like kind of antiqued, that my wife fell in love with. And the last day we were there, like she mentioned it again, she left. I was like, you know what? Like we really don't buy anything for each other anymore. Like since we've had kids, we have a house, like every time birthday comes up, like, yeah, you want to spoil your wife and wife wants to spoil the husband, but we're like, it's kind of hard when you look at the mountain of stuff you always have to do. Yeah.
I remember seeing you walking out. I was like, you son of a...
and I was looking at it, I'm like, that thing is really nice, and it's perfect for her style, and it sits in the house well. And I like the thing is still mint. Two years later, with my kids beating the crap out of it, dude, that guy knows his shit. He built a freaking sturdy piece of furniture. And I went over, I was like, yeah, dude, I'll buy that. And Andrew helped me lug it out to my truck. And I showed up, my wife's like in the window. She's like, so it's cool that there's even stuff like that.
Yeah, he'll be there. So Russ, that's called North Country Furniture. He's a good old Maine.
Yeah.
Yep. And he'll be there. And it's funny you mentioned that. I didn't know that, but my wife came up there as well and bought 2 pieces of furniture, and we have had them for the past we bought them 3 years ago at the show, but he makes some really, really cool stuff. And the thing about his craftsmanship is not only is everything well built, but it's just some really cool and unique pieces of furniture out of some pretty funky wood,
Yeah.
And that's really, it's definitely an art. It's definitely a craft that the guy is really good at, and he's been doing it a long time. He had sent me pictures a couple years ago of his workshop, which is just picture like a 100-year-old barn in the middle of Maine woods, and literally that's his playground, and he's got stuff stacked everywhere. But the furniture in particular, what we bought was the coffee tables, and we even bought a couple of little end tables. And it's funny because we have people over, and everybody gives us compliments. They're like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool." So that's how you know that the guy's doing something right.
I get a really good feeling I'm probably coming home with a new coffee table and 2 end tables from that show. It's our coffee tables beat to death, and our end tables are the same ones we've had since my wife and I first moved in together. Like just like cheap $20 Walmart tables, and they have been through the ringer.
Yeah, and
this is gonna be an expensive weekend.
But so many different pieces of furniture. But as an example, the 2 little end tables that we bought was $75 each, which, you think about that. So we're $150 in for 2 end tables, but they'll last forever. They're gorgeous.
Yep.
Anywhere else, you're going to pay
and not that little cheap, fake IKEA furniture or whatever that you got to kind of glue together.
Right.
Literally glue together. No, that stuff. I remember seeing that stuff, and I helped him pull that thing out to his truck. I'm like, that's really nice.
Yeah. Guy, like Dan said, guy's definitely a master of his craft.
Yeah.
Expanding
30 feet. He's got 30 feet by 10. He's a regular there.
Nice.
Good.
Speaking of 30 by 10 booth, expanding on the fishing thing. So we're going to have, hold up. Hang on. My freaking phone's blowing up. What? Yep, already got those. Already got those. Already got that. Already got that. Already got that. Okay. Actually, one question before I dive into that: will Shimano be at the expo this year? I have a text from a friend asking.
No, no,
Okay,
no.
that's okay though
No,
because
they haven't done.
you guys sell plenty of reels.
Yeah, certain companies haven't done any shows this year. They were one of them. They're not. They're basically not doing shows. They didn't even do ICAST to start off the year.
Really?
Wow.
That's kind of big, actually.
Yeah.
Sucks.
So anyway, back to the show. Chad, stop asking random questions. Speaking of bigger booths, so we're gonna be there this year. We have a booth that we're sharing with Wicked Custom Rods. Well, I say sharing, right? We're technically in business together.
We're in cahoots.
We're in cahoots. And the plus side too, with the way Dan has set us up, is now that we have a big enough booth for the flipping competition that we're doing all weekend. And again, no vendors in this. I know that was a big concern the last time we did this at the New Hampshire show. So this time I'm going to open it up. So it's just for the consumers, for the guests that come in for the week. And we're going to run an actual event, probably Saturday, because that's usually the busiest day. So we'll have the most amount of people there. I don't know how we'll work out the Sunday thing, Dan. You and I can talk about that. But the other thing I want to be able to run all weekend is we're going to keep an active scoreboard. We will have rods on hand. If you want to bring your own rod in, by all means, go for it. We'll let you guys take a couple minutes for practice rounds, get warmed up, the whole 9 yards. Like, we want it to be as fun and fair as possible. Dan already mentioned that Ben's Tackle, as long as that offer still holds, is willing to throw in a rod and reel combo from Lose to the overall winner for the competition. Wicked Custom Rods is going to kick in a sweet deal for not only the competition itself, but for the whole weekend, we're going to run the highest score, essentially competition. It's its own separate thing. That way, if you can only be there Friday or Saturday or Sunday and you miss the competition, not a worries. You still have a chance to win something. And again, no vendors involved in this. Guys that will be there basically hammering away at those boards, like at the end of the show and before the show, and they're already hammers at what they do anyway. Mm-hmm. So it'll be awesome for people that just want to come in and do something and have fun. It's another added element to the show, and there'll be a sweet prize pack. The last several flipping competitions that we did at these shows, or that Andrew and I were at least, kind of a part of, they had a big prize pack from that, like every vendor in there threw in a bunch of stuff. It ended up being, what did we say at the last show, the New England show? There was like $120, $150 worth of stuff in there total by the end of it.
And it was like baits. So that's a lot of baits.
Yeah. It was all good stuff too. It's not like guys were just pulling off like cheap stuff off the shelves. They were like, oh yeah, no, dude, give them this jig with all this stuff. And then like,
there was like a swim bait here. There was like just a bunch of everything.
Rocky Ledge.
All the stuff that you wanted, really.
Yeah. Rocky Ledge hooked us up with 4 of his spinner baits and 2 crankbaits.
It was like a mystery tackle box, but way better.
Yeah, way better.
That was definitely a good prize pack, and I'm sure we can, generate enough around the New Hampshire show too. But to answer the question, yeah, Ben's is definitely down for the combo for the winner.
Nice,
awesome.
So I have the flyer. We'll call it 95% done. So I'm gonna have that done this weekend, so we can post it up over online, let everybody know. I'll find a place to get them printed out, like 11 by 17, I think is the format I had it, vertical orientation, so we can post it up at the front door and then at the booth, and that way people can see it and they'll know all weekend that it's going on. We got Jason at Crazy Hick Bait. Right. He said he's going to throw in stuff too. It's seriously going to be worth your time to win something. I'm going to see if I can convince everybody to pitch in a little bit, both for the overall competition on Saturday and for that prize pack for the highest score over the whole weekend as well. So that way, everybody comes away with something in the end. The winner of both aspects of it.
Sorry to jump in on this, but I just had a thought with the so the New Hampshire Junior Bassmasters are there, which is great.
Yep.
With the kids involved. So just an idea, and you can think about it for the flyer, but you might want to have a junior division, 17 and under. And if get enough prizes, then they can win. Maybe they can win a little bit of a prize, and then you have the adult division. But I'm just throwing it out there. It's up to you.
No, that's honestly a great idea. We can throw together another little prize pack for the younger kids. Maybe we'll make it 15 and under, because most kids that are going to compete that are 16 and over, they're probably pretty damn good.
Yeah, so whatever.
Somewhere with the adults.
603 Bass is the 603 boss.
No, I like that idea. It's a great suggestion, Dan. Thank you. We'll make that happen. And it'll be great. And it'll be a fun added element to the whole weekend. Again, it'll be set up right in front of us, 603 Bass / Real Northern Bass, and then the Wicked Custom Rods booth. It'll be there all weekend. While you're there, you can talk to John about getting a custom rod built.
Because they're amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely amazing.
I just think it's something that, I mean, I'm always, just about everything we do, I always have that thought in mind where, it's, you get the kids involved that, they might win only, 50, $60 worth of stuff and maybe a couple shirts
But
and a couple
that's a
hats.
lot.
But hey, if it gets them into fishing for the rest of their life, then that's awesome.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Or hunting or whatever that's going on there.
Yep. So another element to the show is all the seminars. So I assume you're going to have the stage set up out back again this year, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So go ahead and elaborate on what the seminars typically revolve around or involve. Sorry, that's the word I want to use.
So it's it can be anywhere from fly tying, fly casting to what you're going to talk about with bass fishing. We also have some typically a captain for the salt, given a couple of seminars. We've got like whitetail seminars, dog tracking, turkey hunters. So it kind of runs the gamut of all of those topics, just like the vendors that are set up there. So again, back to the true outdoors, they could be a topic for if you're into turkey hunting solely, then there'll be a seminar for you. If you want to track whitetail, then there'll be a seminar for you. If you want to go off the coast for some stripers or blues or whatever, that'll be talked about at some point. And then of course the bass fishing. We did not, as of right now, I did have a guy lined up to do a river trout salmon fishing seminar, and he just backed out this week. So that's a spot that I'd like to fill because I try to, like I said, I try to have it good for everybody. So he was going to specifically, more along the lines of brook trout, and then salmon fishing in the rivers, and so that's a slot that needs to be filled again. If I can find someone that wants to take that on, then or maybe you can shout it out or share it around. But that'd be something that I think is interesting, and there's a lot of interest, even for bass anglers in river fishing for trout, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can shout that out on all my social media and hopefully we can find another trout guy. If not, I'm happy to fill that. I know I had already requested if it was possible to get, 2 slots every day, all 3 days, but I'll be happy with just at least the 1 slot for a couple of days. Because I know that we're going to cover ice out bass fishing tactics, which I've done a couple of videos on over the last few years, and they've been really successful. So I know that's a really good topic that I really think people will find very beneficial. If you throw out what we did this past Sunday, I swear we really know what we're doing when it comes to the early ice out bass fishing. We put in a lot of time to figure this out. We end up chasing that ice out fishing.
Right.
Like as soon as it starts in the Cape all the way up to the Lakes region in New Hampshire, because like that's such a sweet spot for those big fish to really show up. And it's the area that was previously our biggest weakness, but now it's one of our biggest strengths because we put so much time into it. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to doing that seminar.
Jason Paiva, Crazy Hick Baits, has a question for you, Dan. He says, "Is Roscoe measuring racks this year?"
Yes, absolutely. The big buck, they are there with the triple booth. Roscoe will be there. They'll be measuring all the bucks just like usual. People will be bringing them in all weekend long. And the New Hampshire Antler and Skull is definitely there, 30 by 10. Roscoe is a great guy. He's actually doing a couple seminars as well.
Nice.
Nice.
Good.
Is Roscoe, is that the guy that like Travis and all them use for?
I'm pretty sure.
I say because every time I don't hunt, but I have plenty of friends that do, and the few times the conversations come up about someone getting their racks measured, I swear to God they all say Roscoe. Everyone's like, "Oh, if we're doing it, there's one guy you got to go. He's the best."
Yeah,
Probably is.
He's there with James Smith, and he's a little bit more low key. But yes, they do it together, and it's a great program. It's a fantastic program, and over the last couple of years, again pre-COVID, we really had some nice deer coming in, so that was pretty good to see. And then speaking of Mr. Andrew, because we don't want to leave him out, so maybe this is just an idea, totally off the cuff. So he can do a seminar on when to know when to trash your four-wheeler or if you should rebuild it or buy a new one. Maybe he can just kind of elaborate on, what's the cutoff point for the rebuild versus just send it to the junkyard and get a new one. I don't know.
See, I already know the answer to this. Just trash them all because he doesn't do service. He builds the new stuff.
He just wants them all built new.
Yep. Yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. I saw a question for
Steve didn't answer it, but we'll throw it to Dan as well, so that way we can have it in this when it goes up live on YouTube. So Ben Bradley asked, are you going to update the schedule for all the seminars on the website? I can't go every day, and I'd love to plan that day based on the seminars offered.
Yep. So that's always fluid, and like I just said, we just lost one, but we will have the seminar schedule completely updated. We definitely put it up a week before the actual dates of the expo, and by then it'll be final. So it will be up on the website, and it will be listed, and it will be final. Sometimes, if I'm very fortunate, I get it up there 2 weeks before the show. But a lot of times, really up until like a week before the show, you still have seminar speakers who are like, I'm doing it. Oh, guess what? My cousin's getting married that Saturday. I can't do it. So, but we will do our best to have it up there a week before the show is on.
Nice.
Hey, thanks, Oliver.
Hey, Oliver. How you doing, buddy? Speaking of which, I hope Oliver's coming to the Northeast Swim Bait Expo.
Yeah, I've been so slammed. I got to talk to Oliver definitely about that subject. He's the man. He knows, even though, since 2012, 13 or whatever, it's not like we text each other every day, but I've always been just a huge supporter. From day one, I love the movement. I like everything he's about, and I've seen him grow in the sport, grow in the industry. We run a lot in the same circles with a lot of the same individuals, and I really would like to have him East Coast Swim Bait Expo for sure. We just had to get through New Hampshire, and I'm plugging away at that. But yeah, everything. I know you had Oliver on a couple weeks ago, and I dialed into that show. He's definitely a guy that is going to be really cool to follow. And man, there really could be a day in the next few years where he's hoisting that blue trophy, which will be pretty special.
Absolutely.
I see it happening for sure.
Yep. Hey, Oliver, while you're here and I have your attention, I sent you an email about Champlain this summer. Let's make that happen. I gotta that way I can plan my St. Lawrence trip around that.
That's gonna be a busy week.
It's gonna be great. Are you kidding me?
Really busy.
My wife's like, so you're gonna be gone for a week and a half? I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
See you, bye.
It's like it's no different than when the last two times we went to the St. Lawrence is. I'm going to multiple places this time. The same amount of days though.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. I can't wait, man. I just can't wait to get back to the St. Lawrence.
I want to get back on Champlain.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, they're both phenomenal. Champlain is you can spend 10 days on Champlain, and it's just incredible. St. Lawrence, of course, I know when you guys went up there last year, that was pretty cool. And I think that you didn't have the most spectacular time, if I recall correctly, or at least you had a rough day. But overall, that fishery is just absolutely insane. And I know you guys will hit it right this year.
I'm hopeful.
We will.
It's a learning curve when you go there. Those fish, my buddy made a really good point about why we kept losing so many fish. And that was our issue. It's not that we weren't getting into them. There was a couple of days, both trips, our first and our second year that we were there, where we definitely had slow days. And we only got a couple of bites. But all the rest of the days, we got plenty of bites. But capitalizing and actually landing those big fish, that's where we struggled. And my buddy made a good point. He's like, because they're so tuned into feeding on those, the gobies, and there's so many zebra mussels everywhere, it's like most of those fish have crazy scar tissue in their mouth. At least that's his theory. And he's like, that's
My
why
theory,
it's so
too. They're
hard.
just sitting there smashing their face out the bottom, getting scar tissue from all the zebra muscles, and it's just they just don't stick.
Yeah, and keeping them pinned was the hardest thing. We weren't breaking any of them off. There was one I broke off because he swam me into a big boulder, but oh my God, just trying to keep him pinned, and then didn't realize it until after the second trip. We should have gone down in the gauging of our hook to a much thinner gauge hook, and we probably would have had a lot better success. But last year, I went for an overnight trip. I left my house in Milford at 12:30 in the morning. We were fishing on the St. Lawrence River by 8:30 after I met my buddy at his house in Vermont, and then he drove the rest of the way. We used his boat. We fished from 8:30 to like 6 that day. Went, got food, crashed, back on the water for like 7 a.m. the next day till 2:30 in the afternoon. Hightailed it back. I was back home before midnight the next day. I went and fished the St. Lawrence River and Lake Ontario and back to my house in less than 48 hours. And that's 375 miles from my house.
You're like, you want to go? I'm like, dude, I can't do that.
My wife's like, you're nuts. And I'm like, holding like 4 monsters. I'm like, no, it's good. I'm fine.
You're sitting there shaking. You're like, that's great.
Yeah, we're really fortunate. I know we were talking about the expo, and we'll talk a little bit about, all of the other things you want to talk about, the Go Fish Stand and anything else. But the thing that, being in the industry and being, in the Northeast, really, especially with guys like you think about the New England states alone, and then you got Champlain in New York and all the Finger Lakes and all the Great Lakes, and then you've got the St. Lawrence, and then you've got right to our north, anything above us in Canada. I mean, it completely blows your mind when you realize the incredible, and I mean simply incredible, fisheries that are all within what, 5, 6, 7 hours of us.
Yeah, just even overnight trips are totally doable if you're someone that's comfortable with doing a 5 or 6 hour haul behind the wheel in one shot. I mean, a lot of these places that you could, like Champlain is nothing for most of the way, because you got 89 that takes you right up to Burlington, and you could launch friggin' anywhere from there. Like the whole northern half of that lake, there's boat launches everywhere, and to get to them, you pretty much take 89, and then 89 is serviced by 93, 93 is serviced by everything. So you can just truck straight highway almost the whole way. But then, you've got like all these other great places, the whole lakes region of New Hampshire. You got Candlewood Lake down in Connecticut. You've got literally anything in Maine. And then, like you said, you go a few more hours, you're on the St. Lawrence River, Lake Ontario, and then into Canada. Like within a 5 to 6 hour drive from the center of New England, it is incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of amazing fisheries that we have. We are truly spoiled where we live.
And the thing is too, that if people are dialing in from from other parts of the country, if you come to New England, it's just even right around where I live, or right around where you live, or even like from Maine, in the Belgrades and all the way up towards Canada, it's fisheries that not even like the big name lakes or the lakes that there's tournaments on, but there's rivers and ponds and lakes that are basically nameless, that you can just go out and have absolutely insane days of catching, whether it's be smallie or largies or whatever. But that's another thing that is just, you just pinch yourself being from this area, because there's places like that the locals can go down, or that if you're fortunate enough to know or go fish it, that you can just absolutely hammer them.
Yep.
We got some small ponds around here that if we're like kind of indecisive for the weekend what we want to do, if we want to go to a big lake or a small pond, sometimes we're just like, screw it, let's just go here and just go catch fish. And we do catch a lot of fish.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, to Dan's point, especially about Maine. I know we're getting a little off topic, but it's still all applicable anyway. We love talking bass fishing. There was one year, I think it was the first year we went to the St. Lawrence. We were talking 2019, and we were kicking around the idea of like, okay, we want to do our first like week-long fishing trip. Well, what do we want to do? A lot of people are like, you really should go to St. Lawrence River if you've never been, or even Champlain. Like, you can't go wrong with those. And then another guy said, well, you should go to Maine. So I was like, okay, I will go and start asking around. And I'm like, I go to my usual fishing forums, like Bass Boat Central has always been a great resource for things like that. Not getting specific information on honey holes, just like general information. It's phenomenal for. Those guys are very helpful. And I was like, okay, I've heard the Belgrade's area is really good, so we're thinking about going up there. Where would you guys recommend? And literally everywhere is like, honestly, you might have a tough time because literally every single lake in that area is phenomenal. You will suffer from paralysis by analysis, where you cannot decide what lake to go to. And you might have a tough time with it for the only 1 week and having never been to any of them because they're all great. And you'll be chasing your tail going all these different spots and you won't be able to put the pattern together because it's just all different, but they're all phenomenal. It's like, okay, never mind. Let's go to St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
I'd rather carry, we covered 60 friggin' miles of water total. We mapped it out one day, the last day we were there, and I was like, okay, I know we fished this spot and this spot and this spot, and I'm on Google Maps like dragging the measuring tool around. I'm like, holy shit, dude, we literally drove like 60 miles today.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And being, born in Maine and having relatives top to bottom in Maine, Sean, that whoever told you that is 100% right. I mean, the Belgrades in that, again, you put a pin in the middle and you go within 45 minutes in a circle. The lakes are they're just all stacked. They're loaded. It's phenomenal fishing. And, there's China, Cobby, Panther Pond, Weber, North Pond, East Pond. The Messalonsky Stream.
There's a million of them up there.
Yeah.
It's really just kooky fishing in that whole area of Maine.
Right. We got to go up there more this year.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we were supposed to do that this year and we just never got around to it. Like, out of everything we had planned and hoped to do, Maine was the only spot we didn't get to hit.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I think about going up there, because of where we live, really the only way up is 95. And I really cannot begin to tell you how much I do not want to sit in that traffic on my way home Sunday afternoon. If I could fish Saturdays again, totally different story, but I really don't want to sit in that traffic in 95. I've been in it before. I made that mistake, and it sucked. I don't want to do it again.
Oliver, you guys should promote outside New England because the rest of us think you guys sound cooler than Brits and Aussies.
Yeah. Well, hey, Sean, here's the goal. I mean, you keep raising money with the 603 bass, and I already did the whole Go Fish Dan thing, and I still have a little bit of fun with it. I'll do a couple of videos probably this summer. One of them I'm planning on doing with Steve Sargent fishing, but we will. What will happen hopefully is that you'll grow the 603 bass to a point where, guess what? Doesn't matter. You're driving on Monday and you're fishing on Tuesday and you're coming home on Wednesday and then you're gone for another day filming 603 bass and yada, yada, yada. So there you go. Then you don't got to worry about driving back home on a Sunday in main traffic.
That's the goal. It's funny you bring that up because that's literally what Andrew and I were talking about earlier. I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. It was an interesting day at work. And it's just been an interesting time period. It's just nothing but unease on my end, and I'm just like, I'm stressing about it, and I really shouldn't, but at the same time, like there's enough rational reason to be like concerned with what's going on. And I was like, dude, we gotta make this happen. And it's not even we are going to. I've never been so focused on something before in my life, and it goes into everything I always want to do. The whole reason I got in my career path is I wanted to work for myself. I originally wanted to start a BMX company because that was my life. Fishing was always there, but then like BMX overtook it for a huge portion of my life. And I always wanted to do better, and I wanted to build better. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go. My uncle was like, well, if you're interested in doing that, here's a good path for you to go through college for cheap, and that will give you the tools you need to do your own thing. And then he's like, I recommend you go into the real world for a couple of years. You get some good cash in the bank, you get some experience in different manufacturing environments, and then go do your own thing. And I absolutely was going to do that until everything crashed in 2008, and the BMX industry never came back. All those companies, the phenomenal top companies that were at it, just so many of them are gone. Because when the money did come back after the crash, a lot of those guys that were my age, they didn't go back to BMX. They went to mountain biking. Mountain biking scene blew up. Mm-hmm. BMX scene died.
Yeah, we started fishing a lot more.
Yeah, but like that burning desire and passion and need to be my own boss and run the show. It hasn't gone away. It's got to happen.
It's possible, dude. And you know, I know this isn't what the show is about, but I just get juiced talking about fishing in general. And I, you know, that, you know, we've had a couple of conversations that, you know, we sponsor you from the Ben's Tackle Shack, and I really like what you guys are doing, both you and Andrew, from an informational standpoint. But you know, the fact is that I did just that. So I jumped off the cliff and I worked for myself and I did the Go Fish Stand, um, traveling around. I fished with so many great names, great guides, great, you know, captains, fresh and salt, and did a lot of video work. And you'll laugh, but you know, I think I probably told you this, but my first camera, the you know, the camera guy Todd would come with me. I mean, first camera was, I don't know, 23, 27 pounds. I honestly can't remember with the
Oh my
tapes.
God.
And but the bottom line is that like you, I was just passionate about fishing, and I just wanted to do something where I was my own boss, and I took the leap of faith. I did that. Um, I did that for a good 10, 11 year run. Got paid by some good companies, some good sponsors, um, both in product and cash, and paid the bills and all that other stuff. Now, that led into like the expo business because what you may not know is that because of my fishing show, or people kind of recognizing me on the local on the Spectrum network, which was like, you know, Virginia to Maine, so it wasn't like nationwide, but nonetheless, it was on Saturday mornings, and I was on enough where people would like say like, hey, there's Dan or whatever. Um, and because of that, I got a call from Andy Davis, who was asked to take over the Worcester show. And he said, well, I know nothing about fishing or the outdoors, but I know a guy who does. And they called me because they had seen the show, knew the show, and basically that's how I got into talks and ended up buying out the Worcester show, was through the Go Fish Dan little brand that I had established over, you know, over those years. So I've got no regrets. I'm running shows now. I say this to say this, that it was so much fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I started when I was literally on a Dell computer on Pinnacle software, if you even know what that is, trying to
I
figure
do,
out how to
surprisingly
do
enough.
fades and blends and transitions, and going out of my mind on audio issues, importing tape after tape, so 100 hours of tape to make a 30-minute program, which was actually 22 minutes or 23 minutes because of commercials. Um, and I just basically did it all myself, self-taught, learning not only the camera work but the video work, and that was just insanely grueling and maddening. And but I had the vision of wanting to do it, and then I got to the point where I was able to actually, which was the coolest thing ever, is to have people help me with the camera work, people help me with the editing. There's some great people that you know, I got to a point, like I said, where I was making enough money where I could pay someone to edit the video that had a similar vision and cut down the shows into a place where they'd show me first draft, second draft, third draft, and then it would get released to the network. So the reason that I went on that little tangent, Sean and Andrew, is because this was before everybody had a phone and a YouTube and filming in 4K, and there's 8 million fishing shows on any given YouTube channel, you know, 24 hours a day. So I kind of was before that, so to speak, and I still dabble in it. And like I said, I'm going to film a couple this summer. But just because all of those shows and channels are out there, what you can do and are doing is you separate yourself by doing what you do and what your authentic vision is, in your knowledge base, in your connections, it's all about the network, the connections, the brands, the relationships you build, and you will make it happen if you give it all. You gotta be all in. Your wife might not like to hear that if you do take it to that level in a year or two, but it's something you just gotta be all in and just all in. That's all I can say. And
I
if
mean,
you're not gonna be
all the
all in,
connections.
then just keep doing it for fun and call it a part-time job. And if you can make 15, 20 grand a year on a part-time gig, then it is what it is. But if you want to
Right.
go all in, it's all in.
That's what we're pushing for. There's a great phrase that I keep reminding myself of, and it came up again yesterday. I think it was perusing Instagram, and I still got my job. I got to worry about. I got to pay the bills. I am by far the primary breadwinner. My wife has her own career, and she makes enough money to help out by all means, but I still am the primary breadwinner. The 9 to 5 pays the bills. 7 to 2 builds the empire. There's a reason why I'm up till 1 a.m. every single night. Every single night. Because there's always something I know I can work on. Whether it's on me personally or something for the channel or something for the website, something for social media, it does not matter. There is always something that I see that I know I can improve that's going to overall have a positive impact for the growth of what it is that we're doing.
Right.
And now, having Andrew there to help me, because I just the same as you, Dan, like I literally did 100% of everything since the start of this. My friends built the website for me, but since it got launched, literally anything that shows up on there, I have done myself. There's been articles that other people have written, but I still had to get them on the website and then go through all the SEO stuff and then go through the whole readability rating on it so that it would have as much impact when it hit the internet and people were searching for those type of things. I had to teach myself freaking search engine optimization, not just for YouTube, but for an actual website too. Like, I'm willing to do that because of how much this means to me. And that's why I'm up till 1 a.m. every single night, because there's always something I can improve on. There's always something I can learn, and there's always, always, always something I can do to continue to help build out this dream.
Right. And just to expand a little bit on the thought, because I know the viewers need to know we haven't even, like, we literally didn't even talk about this. It just kind of came up. So so I'm just gonna roll with it. Because I think you had mentioned when you texted me that a guest canceled and we don't have a format, so we'll just talk about the expo and a couple of other things about fishing. So what I can tell you is that this show has grown tremendously just in the past 2 years with you two. I've seen the growth. I'm excited about it. Other people have seen the growth. You're commenting on the growth. And it's not just about the video content and releasing YouTube videos, because where I'm going with that is, you can carve out a niche in the industry and you may actually find that you land a job in a fishing related company due to 603 bass. So you still can get a quote unquote day job income, right? That you've created through 603 bass. And typically, if it all works out great, you can get that fishing industry job that gives you the flexibility to do more 603 bass, which partners with the real day job in the industry. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
That should be a
Not
goal.
only does it make sense, the timing of this conversation could not be any better. There is a company here in my town. I won't mention it. Well, I don't think it. I don't know. You just never know who's watching and how they react to things. So I won't say the company name. However, they're big in the marine industry. Big. They make transducers for a lot of the big players. They had a position open up that I am a perfect fit for. I have a friend there, Mm-hmm. Actually, we have several friends there. Mm-hmm. But Jared.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's there. And
my brother-in-law.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I saw the post. I was like, oh my God, I'm literally like perfect for this. And the funny thing is, it's for their marine industry.
I know where they test their electronics too.
Yep. And it specifically says, it's like the title of the job posting, and then inside the very first description of, welcome to, shut up, Panda. get to in a second.
Welcome to company. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and then welcome to company, blah, blah, blah. We are searching for someone to fulfill this position that is passionate about bass fishing and boating. Sorry, fishing and boating. And I'm like, I already knew that they were big on that because of what they do. And I was like, I need this job. As long as the salary is like not too far off what I really need to continue to do what it is I'm trying to do, I was like, I need this. Like, I've already tried. It's the first time in my life I've actually written a cover letter. And I, like, Panda's laughing at me now because he said too many commas. But I threw my hat in the ring on that because it's like, how do I not try? How do I not try for something like that that would be in an industry that my entire passion and everything I do revolves around? And all of my professional career and experiences in that realm. So I was like, oh my God, yeah, now I got to do this. And then I sent everything over to my buddy that works there, and he's hand delivering copies of it to the hiring managers and everything. So, like, do I really want to keep changing my career? No, but this is an opportunity that regardless of whatever my situation is that I'm in, I would be a fucking idiot not to try to get.
Yeah, and
Pretty much.
absolutely.
I'll call you one if you don't.
And you know, and just hearing that, I get excited for you guys because it's like I said, I'm just going back full circle. So the Go Fish Dan, quit the job, start the thing leads to expos, which leads to opening up a few more expos in different states, which leads to my son getting old enough to graduate from college and start a tackle store. So everything that have been doing for the past 12 years, basically, is in the fishing industry, which I love, and we're able to pay bills because of the fishing industry. And that's really, it's really all you can ask for, right? I mean, that's what really is gets you juiced in the morning, get you out there for another day, plugging away, and it's kind of funny and surreal almost having this conversation because it's almost like you're kind of on the threshold of where I was maybe 2013 or something, 2012, whatever that was, and now here you are. You could end up kind of 603 bass, growing, getting paid, getting a job in the industry, getting paid. Now you got two good things going on, and you're in the industry, and you're waking up, and your head is just thinking about fishing 24 hours a day, right?
It already is.
Yeah, it already is. And yeah, just kind of expanding upon that, because like for a few years, even going back to the last job I had just left for the current job I have now, I definitely turned a corner where like I could absolutely maintain focus on my job without losing focus on my passion on the side, but I could keep the two separate while still thinking about both. And then I got it down so good when I got here because I finally landed a role that just works exceptionally well with all my previous experiences. I've been through essentially the same kind of role, but at different levels. And in the last 6 companies I've worked at, it's all still been manufacturing environments, but totally different industries, totally different processes for how they accomplish what they do. But at the end of the day, they're still trying to develop and build product, and it's not that far off from what I do here. But now I really have all that, the engineering aspect of it. Now I'm more in the sales aspect. So it's a different challenge, but to me, it's much more simplified now. But it's also cool because it's like entirely all encompassing from everything I learned about. And because of that, like I go to this job and I could put in 10 straight hours and 100% efficiency in what I'm doing for my job, and then go home. And the moment I walk out that door, I can shut off work without losing focus of everything I'm doing, and then immediately jump right back into everything I've been working on for this on the side without missing a beat. And that is something I struggled with for years. And then finally I'm in like this great spot where like, shit, yeah, this is actually like, I can do it now. I can keep everything split without losing focus on anything. I've been doing the best I've ever done in my career to this point. I'm happy with where I'm at. I forget what the fuck I was elaborating on that for.
So it's all about the passion for the sport. And that's where,
there you go, Jason.
Which really, that's a nice pay. It's the passion.
He has to hook himself so everybody can drink.
There you go. Now everybody drink. Give me $10.
So the passion for the sport has, you know, I don't have any less passion, I guess, to make a video, but things evolve, and you realize that, kind of like what we're talking about is the expo became like my real job. So you do have to make some business decisions where, you know, have to recognize that, okay, the expos are my real job, and then now Ben's Tackle Shack with my son, that has kind of become another real job in itself. So the video work has been on the back burner. First of all, started with COVID and not being able to travel, this and that, but it also was not typically just because of COVID. It was about realizing that, you know, I have the passion and I'm passionate about the expos, and that kind of took over, um, you know, dollar and cents wise, and also passion wise, because I want to be really good at what we do. So when it became time to do the expos, I was like, I want to be the best expo in New England. I want to be the best fishing expo and have everybody talk about it and be the best. So I
It
guess
is
I
now.
guess what,
Damn
what
right
I'm
it
saying
is.
is that it's all still passion for fishing. It's just that your avenues or channels may change as you grow and get a little bit older. And certainly that the passion is there, but you also have to be smart enough to say, okay, this is where the money is made, so that's obviously where I need to spend more time. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I still like to catch fish. I just like fishing.
Well,
A lot.
as you get better with the editing and we start to blow up and the money starts coming in, then I can like pay you to edit, and I can start working on more of the administrative things.
Sold. He's actually teaching me how to use the editing program now. The first time I got on there, I was just like, huh? So much stuff. And now I'm getting into it now,
You can
and
do
I'm
it, Andrew.
actually
Just
learning how
take
to
some
use a
time.
computer.
Yep. A lot of it really can be done with like essentially 4 functions to get like a basic thing. And then where a lot of the magic in video editing comes from, in my opinion, is the timing and the pacing and the overall kind of feeling that you're trying to portray with it, and where and when you use music and how you use it to elevate or kind of pull down different feelings and emotions at the time, like things like that. Like
Yeah,
that's where it gets that takes experience. But as far as like actually cutting it up and lining things up and synchronizing audio video, like literally like 4 keys and you can do all of that.
I mean, I'm not even good at answering text, and you got me on a computer editing videos. Like, what the hell am I doing?
but Sean, you know what's great about having someone like Andrew, and he can help scrub the video, but also another set of eyes. And I used to do this all the time. I would have three or four buddies come over, and we would watch a show, and I would show them like if I inserted this clip here, well, like what's a better clip? So this is an 18-second clip, and what do you think about this version A versus version B? And I would just show them the clips, and then some would giggle, some would laugh, and whatever. But um, that was super important, and it was also really important getting someone else to help edit and another set of eyeballs, because I'm sure, Sean, you're the exact same way. We are all programmed to be so self-critical that you can get to a point
Yeah.
easily that you're not coming across fun anymore, or you're not coming
Yep.
across the way that you want to come across, and you just self-analyze and self-analyze again, and then you're hypercritical, and then, like I said, you'll show your editor or your buddy or whatever, and it's like, oh no, dude, that's the take, that's awesome. And you're like, yeah, but I kind of screwed up, I did this, that, the other thing. And they're like, dude, who cares? That's a good thing, just show it, just keep it that way. So
Yep.
it's really good having that buddy system where they can give you constructive criticism and feedback, and we all need that, because I know that really helped me with my whole path, definitely, because I was really just almost like too, even though I'm like a pretty fun, laid back type of guy, but I was really too critical of the performance, right? So, and where it became where you just edit, and before you know it, you edit everything out, and now you don't have a show because you were too critical of yourself. So,
Right. It's absolutely very helpful to have Andrew for that now too, because it helps. We both have very similar but also at the same time very different visions too. So like the way he paints a picture, canon usually is different from how I do it, so it's nice to have that different pacing as well. But to your point, a lot of what I learned about that and exactly that, like it used to be so super critical about what I did, and myself and my other best friend Chris, we're still best friends now. I one of my first friends I made when I first moved from Massachusetts to Milford when I was in 3rd grade, 8 years old. So we've known each other almost 30 years now. And when we did our gaming channel together, like we had that exact issue at first. And like, especially for me, because my engineering upbringing, it's, very linear and cut and dry and, like segmented the whole 9 yards. And he helped break that of me and not being overly critical. And like, it doesn't need to always be perfect as long as it complements what it is that you're doing. Like sometimes really unscripted events are usually the best anyway, but
And that's pretty much how our days go. Anyway, we turn the cameras on and we forget they're even there.
yeah.
And then we go through and pick out good stuff.
Well, and it's funny because there's a lot of times too where we end up cutting out a ton of fish catches too because there end up being like dinks. But then there's plenty of times where a lot of those dinks make it in because of what happens during that time. It's just friggin' hilarious. Anyway,
Stupid ass stuff.
yeah. And Sean, I can't even see you on my phone through this whole show. I see part of Andrew, but just the way my phone is positioned. But I have I was chuckling to myself because it's unscripted, kind of like this show, and maybe it's not that good because it is unscripted. But hopefully the people are enjoying it, and at least we're getting a couple of old school, new school, videographers, fishing show type of content out there.
Yep. Yeah. The chat's been going off this whole time. Especially since Oliver had jumped in. The viewers have been great. We've got a whole range of people from
Joey, I did see your comment.
Like from we got people from Maine all the way down to Florida in the chat right now. It's great.
Yeah, Jerry said it was 88 down there and he caught a 30-pound bag.
Yeah.
What an
Jerry
ass.
Bruce. He was originally from New Hampshire, my same hometown here. And then he moved down towards Okeechobee. Oh God. When I was in middle school. Shit. That was over 20 years ago now. And he was like, sorry for getting here to the show late. I had a late draw number, but I caught the dirty 30-pound bag today.
Nice.
Must be nice, Jerry. Must be nice.
Yeah, I'm meeting up with you next time I go down there this time.
Yeah, and I meant to reach out to him. I really still want to go down there this month, but with everything going on at work, I don't even want to risk anything right now. So next year we'll make it down. I keep putting it off year after year, but we'll make it happen. There was one other thing I was going to say in relation to everything, and I totally lost it. It had to do with video editing, and it's going to bother me that I forgot it. It's going to come back to me at a really terrible time.
What?
I can hear the kids. They're home now.
Sorry,
I
they
can't
got
remember.
pizza.
I totally forgot what it was.
About editing, growing on the editing table.
Yeah, what did it have to do with that?
We were talking about
Something about like
Andrew helping out, scrubbing video, different vision.
yeah, and then cutting stuff out. It's on the tip of my tongue. We'll come back to it. I know it's right there. Your fucking hands are gross.
Well,
I
anyway,
just showered before I...
hey Sean, if you don't mind, I'll segue into the very quick, like Steve Sargent fishing. So I got this hat on right here.
Yeah, go for it. I got his Instagram link ready to go for anybody that wants to follow another New England angler here.
So Steve Sargent
Boom.
fishing, he helps me out at the expos, and like I said, him and Kristen, they're lovely. They really do help a lot. But Steve got a new logo, which is right there. It's a beautiful logo. He's doing shirts, hats, apparel. He's getting it all printed now, and he's fishing a couple of good trails. He's a member of the American Eagle Bass Club, American Eagle Bass Anglers, as I am as well. And And so we are going to do a couple of videos this summer, and Steve is going to be on his brand new Nitro, and he's getting into sport and growing and fishing tournaments. And I
Good.
said, I got to get this guy a few more Instagram followers because he really does have a really good knowledge base already. And so when he gets a little bit more content on his Instagram, so it's Steve Sargent Fishing, and I don't know if you can put the Instagram up on the screen, but
It's already there up in the chat, and it's pinned to the top too for anybody that wants to do it.
cool. So that hopefully they'll follow Steve Sargent Fishing, and then you can get to talk to him at the New Hampshire show. And speaking about how everyone's so different, you know, we've become friends, and it's been really good just hearing him talk fishing because like you guys have a style. Andrew has a style, and he's we went on a trip this past year up to Maine, and he was talking about making sure that his hooks are snelled exactly so, and he's tying them at the kitchen table. And that in itself, when that happened that evening, and he's talking about drop shotting and different techniques, and he's talking about tying his hooks and doing his snells, and he's doing it, and I'm like, do you know how many people that would help if you actually did a 3-minute video on that? So there you go. I was like, Steve, you gotta do some of those videos, man, because he has the knowledge. He just gotta put it out there in a video, and it'll help people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. That's all it takes. And to expand on that, there's like a lot of people that like talk about wanting to. Yeah, no, I'm
What
taking
is
the
that?
bait. What?
Okay.
Yeah, you saw that.
You can take it, whatever.
Make two, Joey. To expand on that, you know, like I've heard from other people that want to get into it, and they're like, oh, you know, I want to do it, but there's already like 1,000 other channels out there that do the same thing. What am I going to do? Keep repeating it? Yes. There are thousands of fishing channels and tens of thousands of gaming channels, and for the most part, everybody's pretty much doing the same thing. But you can say it in a slightly different manner, and more than anything, it's you. It's the uniqueness of you that brings in people. As long as you're knowledgeable about what you do, or at least entertaining, that's all there is to it. It doesn't matter if
you got a monkey on the back of the boat.
it doesn't matter if you're talking about the same things and reiterating it. People like to hear the same thing from dozens of different sources because there might be a nugget here or there that you say that is slightly different from everybody else. The other 90% could be overlapping,
Right.
but it doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to have something that sets you apart aside from you as an individual, your personality, you know, how you present things, the whole 9 yards. So I still encourage people to get into it. Doesn't matter how late into the game it is. That's poorly phrased. It's never too late.
I mean, when I'm on
Yeah. and
like
we
searching
talked
YouTube
about-
videos and stuff,
Oh, sorry, Andrew.
oh sorry, go ahead.
No.
All right, I'll go. I like on YouTube when I have like maybe like 7 or 8 different people who fish that I watch, and they're from all different parts of the country. And like even in their videos, like the drop downs or whatever, you go and you look for related videos for that area, you can just go in and you can pretty much learn how the fish act in that area. Like out in California, you got big bass streams, tactical bass, and like and a couple other dudes. And like down south in Florida, there's like 100 of them, and you learn so much just from just YouTube. And I mean, up here we got us, and there's so many people all over the country that are doing this.
Yep.
And you can learn pretty much how to fish the entire country by just going on YouTube and watching it.
Yep.
Watching how to.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say, Andrew, that is you kind of touched on it, but that's what I was saying is we all queue up so many fishing videos, and it's all in our streams, whether it's on Insta, Facebook, TikTok now, Twitter, whatever. But someone like Steve, even though we've had that conversation, so yeah, there's a million people doing it, but the thing that I've talked to Steve about is he's going to grow his Instagram channel, and we're going to do a couple of fun videos and a couple of educational videos. But Steve is not trying to get 100,000 followers. He's not trying to make money in the, as far as like, I'm going to make 100,000 by doing the Steve Sargent fishing show, so,
Right.
you
You
know,
could though. You never know.
well, it could, yeah, I mean, could happen. Maybe it does. And if it does, fantastic. But, you
Right.
got to start somewhere is the point. And starting off with just a little bit of fun videos and a little bit of educational videos, you could go from 500 followers to 1,000 to 3,000, and maybe all you'll get is 3,000 ever. But are you doing what you like? That's kind of was the point. Are you doing it because
Absolutely.
you like it? And then that's the way it should be, and that's all that matters.
I mean, we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't like it.
Bingo. Hey, you know what? Case in point, I walked away from a very lucrative gaming channel. If my friend and I had stuck with that, we were probably less than a year away from two of us being able to go full-time just gaming. That's how much money we're making. We didn't enjoy it anymore. We walked away.
Now we do this.
Now we do this. Go with the passion. Real quick, thank you very much, Gordy, for the donation. $25.
Gordy,
It's $60
thanks, sir.
on the night so far towards that $500 goal towards the drone that we can pick up, which is a DJI?
DJI Mavic Pro 2.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get that done for those that are interested. You can donate directly through YouTube if you have it set up, or down in the video description below, there is a link to both our PayPal and our Venmo. Back to Dan. For those that are interested in following Steve for another angler to follow here in New England, his Instagram is pinned right there at the top of the chat. Go ahead and give him a follow if you don't mind, please, and thank you. I remember what I was going to say earlier. It just... Fantastic.
I heard that pause. I was like, okay.
So,
I looked at you and you looked like you had something going on in your head, so I
It's
just
just-
waited.
everything's firing again. So,
Running on all cylinders.
on the topic of the GoPros, there's two things. I just want to mention Jerry Brusso in the chat was talking about how on his show, which Jerry fishes with Roland Martin a ton,
Yep.
and they have their own show, and they said that those the newer GoPros, the Hero 10s, and I think it was actually the Hero 8 and up when they got away from that clear waterproof case and they went to the actual camera is now waterproof.
Right.
Those bastards overheat like you wouldn't imagine. I ran tests for a week. I actually went out and bought one of those laser thermometers that they use in manufacturing or sometimes even cooking. Not the ones for measuring temperature on humans, like the legit good ones. And the engineer came out at me. I ran tests like with a fan like lightly blowing on it so I could simulate like what I was hoping for was like 60-degree weather. I had a space heater blowing on it and the heat cranked in my house. It was 90 freaking degrees in the room with heat blowing directly on it so I could simulate summer. I had my friggin' lights that we use for the cameras pointing at it. Like,
These get warm too.
yeah, they get warm. They get very hot. It'll climb 10 degrees in here from the start to the end of the show over like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's crazy. And I was measuring it like every 15 minutes in all these different configurations and everything. When those Hero 10s, you need a case that pulls heat out. You need an aluminum case because aluminum is great for pulling heat away from things. That case is going to get hotter than hell, but that's good because it's helping to pull the heat out from the camera. With that, I also found a bunch of heat sinks that I could attach to the aluminum case. That helped it drop another degree or two. So between the aluminum case and the heat sinks all over it, I was able to drop the average temperature on those cameras about 6 degrees. These newer ones are not meant to run continuously like I run them. GoPro did a study. They found that 75% of all their cameras are used for 25 minutes or less, which is what impacted their new camera design. It's super convenient. It's nice. It's waterproof. You don't need another case for it, but they overheat like a bastard as such. You know, the new processor in there is a powerhouse, so it's just generating a lot more heat than it used to. However, I found throughout my testing, aluminum case, aluminum heat sinks all over it.
Literally all over it.
Yeah, I have 6 heat sinks on this thing in key areas where the most of the heat is generated to help pull it out.
Is it down here?
There is actually one on my desk if you can reach it. That one I think only has 4 in it right now. And then on top of that, resolution and frame rate matters greatly. I don't know, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I find this shit so fascinating. The fact I put on this time and effort to figure it out. So what I had hoped to do with these Hero 10s was go 4K at 120 frames. Nope, it will never happen unless I go the extra mile and literally build out a custom bracket that I can attach a 1.5-inch square waterproof PC fan that I found that will run off a battery pack to constantly blow on this to pull heat away. You will never be able to run continuously longer than 30 minutes at 4K at 120 frames per second on the Hero 10. It's not going to happen. Even when I had the room cooled down and a fan blowing on it, that thing would still overheat at 45 minutes with that fan blowing directly on it. Now, 4K at 60 frames per second, or 2.7K at 120 frames per second, I can get those to run continuously all day because I have enough heat being pulled out with this setup.
Hey,
So
Sean.
there's that tangent. Yeah.
So you know what? That's fascinating, Sean, and that's something that you just because like I said, we've been there, done that. Not with the GoPros, but with bigger equipment and older cameras, but always upgrading. And before I get to that point, I just thought about this. So this is a great story from filming on the road. So I upgraded to a camera, which was a Panasonic camera. It was the best thing ever for me, and it was about $4,000. And at the time, it was like the cat's meow, like they said.
Damn.
And so I went to the Florida Keys, and I'm filming a mahi show, and I got the camera front deck, and we're filming, we're fishing. I'm fishing, I'm catching them. The guy I'm with catching them. The other. All of a sudden, we go to leave spots, and the way that the captain took off in the boat, I had the camera up on the deck in the bag, and the wave came over the whole bow and just completely drenched the whole camera bag, everything. And you learn really quick that probably should have had a waterproof bag.
Yep, that sucks.
So anyway,
that really sucks.
That's just a side story about that camera. It was pretty much trashed after that, and I did have to send it in for repairs and all that. But with the GoPro, what I was thinking about is with the because even back then when I was doing it is depending on the end user. So if you're going to film 4K 120 frames, for everything that you're doing in your purposes, couldn't you downgrade to the 4K 60 to keep it cooler, extend battery life, and then your end product is still quality? Or
Yep.
Okay.
So, and that's the thing I did with the testing, because right now everything we have done for the channel is 2.7K resolution at 60 frames. It looks phenomenal, and it's nice and slow. What I was really hoping to do with the new ones was go 4K, so we get a little bit more resolution, and more importantly, with that higher resolution, my zooming abilities become a lot better. I basically double the ability, like I can have what I've already halved. I can go to a quarter of a window. So like when I get fish jumps and you can tell that I zoom in the camera way like tight, I can go that much closer and it'll still at least maintain 1080p resolution, even zoomed into a quarter of the screen, which is nice. Mm-hmm. So we've had plenty of fish that jump, like 50 feet from the boat. We'd still be able to get those in frame and look good. I want 120 frames per second. Everything I render out is at 60 frames. So I can still slow that down by half and it's going to look so buttery smooth. Mm-hmm. So the happy medium is the 2.7K resolution. It still looks phenomenal. And if I do that, I can get 120 frames. I can still zoom in as much as I have been. It could be better, yeah, but it's still freaking great. Even if I zoom in down to essentially a 720 resolution, it still looks good. I rarely have to go that tight though, where it starts to be like get blurry. But more than anything, I would rather I have flexibility. Depending upon what we're doing, some days I might prefer to go 4K to get have the zoom ability and everything, and I don't really need to worry about slowing down. Or if I want to be able to slow down footage, okay, we'll drop down to 2.7K at 120 frames. And it works. Like, to have that flexibility and have it all figured out, it's great. And then another added aspect of that is memory. Everything that you do for this takes memory. I had to go to a 512 gigabyte freaking memory card on every camera. You know how expensive those are?
I mean, like an average trip out for us is like
and
9
I know
to
that
10 hours.
You're throwing out all kinds of technical numbers, and again, so the numbers have changed, but it's basically the same deal. So maybe you can explain, because fundamentally when I talk about that fish jump, okay, when you're doing it in 1080 and then you downgrade to 720 and it goes to YouTube, okay, can you see, can you yourself actually see a, not a slight difference, but can you see a marked difference in the quality from what you're talking about going 4K 120 down to 60, 1080 to 720?
Yeah.
Can you see that, can you see that quality downgrade, or is it just marginal?
Nope, it is.
It's pretty noticeable.
It's significant in some cases, otherwise just very easily noticeable and definable, but not detrimental. And that's the most important thing. Like, yeah, the quality dips, but now you're talking like, okay, from 2.7K down to 720p. Like that's it's not quite a jarring difference, but it is a significant difference, but it's not you're not going down in so low quality that it's taking away from the overall quality of the video. You know, it's not that far off from the best quality picture I can provide that it's jarring. So it's good for that. And then to expand on that, Jerry in the chat did ask, I'm sorry, I had our time here. Do you run the YOLO stick from YOLO Tech? I do not, and I will not, because it's too limiting, and I don't want to run more things off my boat when I already have enough components on there that are drawing a lot of power.
Jesus, yeah.
I buy separate battery packs, and these Hero 10s are power hungry. On the Hero 4s and 5s that I had, a 10,000 milliamp hour battery would make it so that I could run for about 10 hours. No, it was like 9 to 10 hours before, 8.5 to 9 hours before that battery pack would die, which is plenty because the way I film, I can only get about 8.5 to 9 hours of footage before the camera would fill up. The card would fill up. So these Hero 10s, I've had to double. I have to have a minimum of a 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack to keep these running for at least 9 hours. Is like, I always want to have more filming capability than I usually would typically fish. It's probably only like 20% of the trips we go out do we end up fishing longer than, say, like 8 to 9 hours. So now with everything I have doing, whether I do 4K at 60 or 2.7K at 120 frames.
Usually all summers we're out there.
Yeah.
8 to 10 hours.
Yeah. And with these bigger battery packs, now I can film continuously for 10 hours. And now I can answer Jerry's next question and the thing I've forgotten about earlier. I do not set my cameras to looping because I have my own separate microphone on myself and Andrew, and I do not have a way to connect them to the GoPros. This allows for the most maximum flexibility and freedom of movement on the boat. And should anything happen to any one camera, like I know I could do wireless transmitters from the lavalier microphone we wear to that is plugged into an audio recorder. You could go a wireless transmitter from that to a GoPro, but if one of those GoPros dies, audio's gone.
Shit out of luck.
Right. So I'd rather have them separate. That allows me to maintain great audio quality across the whole board. While I don't care if one battery dies or anything, my audio is not going to be compromised. I still have other cameras running that I can still synchronize everything to.
Still have 4 other cameras running.
Right, yeah, because I run 5 GoPros every time we go out. So I like having that freedom in what I do. And with looping mode, you have to go and touch every time something happens in the boat. This is the point that I'd forgotten earlier that I want to make a point. I have so many people, when I have a bad day fishing, their immediate response is, well, it's because you're too busy fucking off with your GoPros all day, thinking about filming. Them. Do I ever touch them?
No. And if one dies, we're like, oh, that sucks. We keep fishing.
And that's it. When I get there, we take like 5 to 7 minutes and we set everything up in one shot. The
GoPros,
boat's already loaded.
mics, everything.
Rods are all set up and everything. The very last thing I do is, okay, GoPro's out, mic's on, turn it all on. We're good? Good. Fuck it. I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day until I finally leave the lake at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I do not have to worry about it. Definitely makes for a lot more editing on my end, but I have a really neat ability to remember literally everything we do every
crazy.
Time we go
I
fishing.
don't understand. He's like, you remember this on October 34th or 32nd, friggin' whatever date it is, the time and to the second. It's ridiculous.
The sync audio.
Right, yeah, you know the whole clapping. It's funny because every time we bring out like a subscriber that's never been out, I turn everything on, I just start clapping like an idiot 5-6 times, and they're like, "The fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Just don't worry about it. It's for editing."
Yeah.
But it's nice because it is literally not in my mind whatsoever. I take the 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, I set them up, I walk away. And then when I go to edit, dude, it literally, I've edited videos 6 weeks after we filmed them, and I can tell you exactly what I did at every part of that day and where every catch happened. And most importantly, like we will have a random conversation. Like we could have a 2-hour lull in between catches, and somewhere like the hour and 15-minute mark, for an example, we would have had a really meaningful conversation that helped turn the corner in the day. And I can remember almost exactly where that conversation happened in the day too, even 6 weeks later. I don't know how I do it. I could never do this shit as a kid for literally anything, but I can do it now.
Did I say 34?
You probably did, knowing you.
Sean, that is so good that you have that mindset because, as far as setting up the stuff, I will tell you that just a little bit of self-depreciating humor. Do you know how many fish? So going over multiple years, do you know how many good fish I lost trying to get that camera shot? Because fishing doesn't work that
I
way.
can imagine.
A lot.
I have lost some donkeys, some pigs, whatever you want to say, because I learned as I went along, but you want to get that shot. So I would try to get the big fish, show an angle, bring it around the motor, kind of do like the how cool is this? And you would lose the fish because you're not catching the fish. You're trying to get a shot for the camera. So kudos to you for getting it all set up. Of course, now you've got 4, 5, 6 cameras, everything going. I was talking 1 or 2 at the most. Most times in the beginning 1 and then up to 2. But to this day I kick myself because I had some legit PBs in different species that I lost trying to hold them so that I could get my camera guy in a place to videotape the fish. And guess what? We didn't see the fish because I lost it. Not good.
Right. Nope. And that's exactly why I do the things the way I do them, because it allows me to still capture everything. Like I know my audio quality is amazing because I put in so much time to research what I needed to get to that. I know all my camera anglers are good and the quality is good because, again, all this freaking research and time and effort I put into figuring that all out. And it really wasn't that much time to figure out, a little bit of trial and error, but now I've got it down pat that, okay, I got my 5 minutes in the middle of the day. I don't need to think about any of that shit. The rest of the day, I can just fish. And at the same time, everything going on in the background is being captured in perfect quality.
Mm-hmm. We literally have every angle covered on that boat.
Yep. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to add a 6th GoPro. So we have 2 facing the back, the 2 facing the front. So left, right perspective. But then I kind of want 2 on the trolling motor because right now we got 1 dead center. But depending upon which side of the boat we're standing on, if we're kind of close, like I wouldn't mind having 2 that we could mount.
Put the 360 up there.
Like a foot apart and then a little further out off the nose of the boat. So even if we're standing on the very front, yeah, but if I build it with that ram mount thing I do, that's literally the only thing we have to take down when we run, which is no different than what we do now.
Oh, true. Yeah,
I just loosen the ram mount, take the whole thing down, the battery's attached to it, so it's literally just 1 post, put it on the floor.
Okay, I like it.
This is benefits to being an engineer and overthinking this shit, people.
So you don't even know the half of it.
You're talking extending it maybe like 4 feet off the bow?
Not quite that far, I think, because right now, if you put it in super view mode, I have one of those like 18-inch tall, like flexible gooseneck mounts for it.
Yeah.
Just with a quick clamp. And there's like the actual aluminum piece of the trolling motor that the kickstand screws into. So, when you store it on the deck.
Sure.
So I clamp it to that and it stands up right next to the head of my Ghost. And if I have that GoPro in super view mode, unless I'm standing like with my practically both feet on either side of my trolling motor, we're still in view. But the problem is if we're both like standing back towards the console, like toes literally against the gunnel, then you kind of lose some perspective on that, and it really kind of messes with like how big the fish look and stuff. We get not a lot of comments, but comments here and there like, oh, that fish doesn't look that big. It's because of that super wide view. So if I were to mount off that same point, split them about, I'm thinking probably a foot apart, and then go just a foot back, so over the head of the trolling motor, that won't be
that
intrusive to how we fish. And then I can go just to a regular wide view, and that will kind of better help the perspectives. And then it literally doesn't matter where anybody stands. Someone's always going to be in the view of a camera.
Mm-hmm. And we are anyway.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Oh, God, Jerry.
That's all.
Jerry said, wait till you hear what we do.
Yeah. That's fantastic until Andrew's on the front deck and he bounces a Beast Coast jig off it.
He already did. Wait. Hold it. It's right here.
Did I break it? Oh, nice.
So this is a case I found on Amazon that's got a little like sun shield on it that he slapped with a case. So wait, towards
Nice.
me. Too far. There we go. See that big chunk missing on the top? Yeah, that was from him slapping it with a jig. Oh, I gotta rotate this
Oh,
way.
there you go, Andrew. You already did that. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably own a boat motor cover too.
Yeah, probably.
Eventually.
Gordy, have a good night. Thanks for watching, buddy. And then Jerry, yes, I do know the right height. You put a GoPro in the right height, didn't you? That would be sick. So one of the things we were talking about doing was still 6 GoPros this year, but one of them being the 360. The only problem with that is you need to use GoPro software to edit 360 footage. So I'd have to go in, find everything that I wanted to use, export it, and then bring it into Vegas Pro that I edit in, and then continue to edit it.
Oh, what's the right
Which
height?
would kind of suck because I'm not really sure like which one I'd want. I was like, no, forget that. That's if I could edit the 360 footage in the same software I had, then yeah, I'd be all for it. But I don't want a second software package. I got enough work on my hands.
Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere. I mean, if they upgrade the software and you're able to do it in a year or two with an update, that's one thing. But that just sounds like a little bit of a nightmare right now.
Right.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, actually, Nate, Andrew did hit me with a jig. Remember you hooked my jacket when we were up in Vermont like 2 months ago? Dude, your first cast, you hit the talon, and then the jig went over and slapped the trolling motor, and then when you popped it off, it hooked me in the back of my jacket. Literally all in one cast. He hit the back, the front, and me.
Smack, bang.
It's right at the beginning of the video. I'm trying to zip up my jacket, and all of a sudden I feel thunk. I'm like, ah!
So
Sorry, Dad.
The main question is, did the paint chip?
Nope. Although it's funny, one of our subscribers we fished with this year, he got us now every time someone bounces a jig off the side of the boat, you go, gel coat!
Gel coat. Who was that?
It was Robbie.
Robbie, yeah. That was
Man,
funny.
we have gotten well off track, but it's all okay because that was just a nice, fluid, wonderful conversation. It's almost 10 o'clock at this point, so real quick, I will ask everybody that's still here, first off, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. If you haven't dropped a like on the stream yet, please do so. If you're watching this on YouTube, not live, but after the fact, go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Any other questions you want to ask, I read the comments every single day, and I respond every single day. So, whatever you say will not be missed. Anybody else that has any parting questions that you have for Dan in relation to literally anything we talked about, drop them in the chat now. Otherwise, Dan, I'm going to give you the floor again for a minute so you can talk about, you yourself with everything you've got going for your own social media, Ben's Tackle Shack, the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, the whole 9 yards. So have at it, good sir.
All right, so New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, March 11th through the 13th at the Hampshire Dome in Milford. Come on out. It's going to be a lot of good vendors there, good times. Ben's Tackle Shack. I'm losing my voice from calling people all day, but Ben's Tackle Shack is in Leicester, Mass. We have a website that we're working on and building. You can check out benstackleshack.com, but also come to the store. We are a true tournament shop. We have everything, and I mean pretty much everything for the tournament angler, and in multiple brands. And we have had people come in and there's a certain something they want, and we usually end up getting it. So we really try to cater to the tournament angler. And obviously covering the New England region. And one other thing too is Andrew and Sean. There's American Eagle Bass Anglers. So check this out. I joined this club this year. I'm fishing it. Steve and
Nice.
Kristen are in that, and there's going to be several tournaments in New Hampshire and some in Mass. So I'll be up in your neck of the woods for some of these tournaments. I'm pretty excited about that because, quite honestly, I have been, if I were to gauge my whole past 20 years of fishing, it's been Maine, Massachusetts, and a little bit of New Hampshire. So I'm
Yep.
pretty excited about that because this year I'll be fishing on 5, 6 different places in New Hampshire. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I won't be asking you for any intel because I just I enjoy going up there. I'm planning on going up there with Steve and we'll pre-fish and kind of like what you guys do when you go out for your show. I kind of enjoy just going out there and finding out what's happening and going in blind is as random as that or weird as that sounds. I kind of like that challenge better than saying, where's this rock that I should fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel that. We do that often enough. Unless it's a big money tournament, then I'll take the time to pre-fish.
Right.
Everything else, though, we just wing it. We're like, fuck it, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all relative,
We usually do,
right?
too.
Yeah, if you're going for triple digits, I might have a different attitude.
Right, yeah. We're talking the $350 tournaments. Like, yeah, I'm absolutely putting in time on that. The $50 ones, nah, we'll fuck. Like I said, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's going to be a good year. I'm excited to get through the show season, and I'm also excited for the Tackle Shack. My son is. We had a great year. It's been a lot of fun, and business is good, thank God, and we're growing and learning every day, so that's always good. Most importantly is we're doing stuff in the fishing industry and having fun while we're doing it, and hopefully continue to pay the bills.
Awesome, man. So, again, for everybody that's watching, hopefully you will all make it out to the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo next month. It is March 11th through 13th at the Hampshire Dome in Milford, New Hampshire. There was a link there in the chat, but I replaced it with Steve's Instagram chat. So, however, it is in the video description below if you want to go there and check it out. Dan did say he will have the seminar schedule planned out probably a week before the expo actually happens. We will be doing at least one seminar. Again, we will be there. I will be there all weekend. That reminds me, I have to put in for that Friday off. Andrew will be there for like half the weekend.
Half of Saturday and all of Sunday.
Yep. And we'll be there we'll be there in the same booth as Wicked Custom Rods. We should have apparel. We're running the flipping competition. And there was one other thing I wanted to say, and I just lost it. Oh, Dan, you had mentioned earlier about hoping the weather will be good. I can guarantee you that the weather's going to be great because I have already committed to being there all weekend. So it is guaranteed
To be amazing.
amazingly beautiful, fucking perfect fishing weather Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because I have already committed to not being in my boat those 3 days.
Right.
And then Monday, it'll all turn to shit because that'd be the day I probably could have gone fishing anyway.
Don't say that because I
That's
could
just-
go fishing that day.
No, fuck you. You're going to suffer the same with me.
That's fine with me, but you guys definitely you guys fish in all weather, and that's really hardcore, man. That's what you got to do.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to.
You have any parting thoughts?
Thoughts?
Yeah, we have plenty
What
of
are
thoughts. Okay. So, just last thing, Dan, thank you for everything that you and Ben's Tackle Shack has done for us, for the channel and everything. This was a phenomenal conversation that we had tonight. We were glad to have you on, and hopefully everybody returns the favor in kind and shows up to the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo next month.
Everybody show up. It's going to be a great show. It always is.
Damn right. I mean, we're going to be there, so man, that's like 90% of it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So Sean, just on a parting note on that flyer, get the flyer done for the contest, and like I said, we'll do a couple of age brackets and get enough prizes for everybody so that one junior winner, one adult winner, and you got the 10 by 30 foot space. As far as the seminars go, You definitely have one per day at least, maybe even two. And then you can even talk to John about he may want to do something, which might not obviously be an hour slot, but he might want to do a rod building component or something like that. And like I said, I'm open to seminar suggestions. We have a pretty good list going, but I always throw it out there leading up to the show that if someone has a specific request or they think that a certain topic would be pretty cool, then I'm all for it. It's all about, we want to please the customer, and as long as it's outdoors related and it sounds like something that at least 30 people might want to be interested in and learn something, then we'll put the seminar on.
Excellent. And so for people that want to make suggestions, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you to do that?
They can just email through the website, New Hampshire outdoor website, which is nhoutdoorexpo.com. And the email is probably easier to remember. It's just the nhoutdoorexpo@gmail.com.
Perfect. That's what I like. All right. Well, again, thank you very much, Dan. Greatly appreciate it. Hang on. Don't hang up after we kill the stream so we can talk for a minute. Otherwise, Andrew, kill it. Oh, I actually know who's going to be on next week if we want to tell people now, too.
Yeah, sure. You guys want to know?
I know.
Of course you do.
We got the next 2 weeks planned out because we're trying to crunch in a bunch of stuff before the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. This is obviously very important, so we can help spread the word on it. Next week, we have Epic Eric. There's the other half of Smallmouth Crush. He's coming on to talk crankbaits.
The crankbait fanatic.
Yep. And then the week after that, the final Wednesday before the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, that same week, we're going to have Jake Angelis and David Fisek on. They're both on the New Canoe team, and New Canoe will be there at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. We're going to have a special just dedicated kayak fishing.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are hammers. They know their shit.
Yeah,
they do all sorts of traditional fishing. They do big bait fishing like crazy. They have pretty much everything you could ever imagine throwing on a kayak.
It's insane.
So
it's ridiculous.
We've got you covered for those that want that episode. Literally anything you could ever think to ask about this, we've got the people to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Anyway, signing off, buddy.
Again, thanks, Dan, for coming on. And we'll be back here next Wednesday, just like every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll see you next week. Have a good night, guys.